aloha in our day. Spread a little aloha around the world at breakfast with Bob.
Thank you, Pancho Man. Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, our Ironman Nice World Championship edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels Go Longer, HOKA, Fly Human Fly, Quintana, Deboer, Wetsuits, and of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Fenella Langridge, getting ready for the Nice World Championships coming up in like 2 weeks or so. Fenella, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I am wonderful. Just back from the Paralympics, and it was pretty special. We had, I think it was like 127 of our grantees participating there, and just it was
That's
very cool.
amazing.
It was very
Congratulations.
cool.
What was
So
your favorite, what's best moment?
look at your great season. You got a fourth in Hamburg and an eighth at Challenge Championship, sixth at Texas, sixth at Oceanside. Leading in here before the season, were you pretty committed that you're going with Ironman Series?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, we made the decision to fully commit to it. And yeah, it hasn't been the smoothest of starts. Like, I feel like I haven't performed quite to my potential, but I've got stuck in there. I've been at the races and given it my best shot.
So with these, this is such a different type of course because 8,000 feet of climbing, descending, all that type of stuff. What type of training have you been doing specific for Nice?
A lot more higher intensity bike workouts just to stimulate some kind of climbing. Yeah, and the rest hasn't changed too much apart from the fact that I picked up a calf injury well about 4 weeks ago.
Ooh.
4 weeks ago now. So I haven't been I hadn't run for 4 weeks, and then now I've just introduced running back in, but not as probably not the ideal prep you would think for a world champs, but I'm going with it. And yeah, I'm feeling so fit, swim and bike, and hopefully the marathons that I've done in the last two Ironmans I've done this year will carry me through. And I've heard many a story where people have not done the ideal or prescribed running training, and they've got to these races probably a little bit fresher, and they've ended up doing really well. So I'm using that mentality and that focus and positive energy, and yeah, hopefully that carry me through all the way to the finish line in Nice.
I think I remember it was 2019. Tim O'Donnell had a ankle injury and didn't run forever leading into, and then he got second. I think he ended up getting second. So the old Karen Smyers adage that it's better to be 10% undertrained and 1% overtrained.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm going to be an underdone chicken. So
The other nice thing about the Nice course in particular for the run, one, it's pretty flat, and two,
yeah.
you're going to have, with the multiple laps, the thousands of spectators who come down there who don't even know how to spell triathlon. They just happen to be on the promenade, right, on a random Sunday, and they're like, all of a sudden they're out there. So the crowds were just gigantic for the race last year. I'm sure they'll be the same this time around.
Yeah, and I think that one makes it so it's so unique and different compared to Kona, where the Kona is that there's different challenges of being isolated on your own in the energy lab, whereas this is, yeah, it's flat. It's gonna have different feel altogether with the lap courses and being completely flat, and yeah, hopefully the crowds and the support from everyone will carry us along.
So the downhills, and people talk about Nice a lot with the descents, and you can gain and lose a lot of time depending on how gutsy you are on those downhills. Have you been doing much of that and just working on handling the bike on the downhills?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been definitely something we've thought about in the weeks previous, and I've been able to come out and recce the course once before, and obviously we're here,
Right.
and it's 3 weeks. I was here 3 weeks before the race, so we've been able to do the descents a lot of times, and we're going to carry on doing that and getting familiar as we can with the course. But even stuff like watching the men's race last year and doing the course on oh, I can't even remember the name of the app now. It's completely gone from my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching it on doing like a Zwift ride or indoor ride and watching it just to get as familiar as I can. Yeah, being in the UK, we've got very technical, narrow roads, so I think I'm used to that. But yeah, the slightly longer descents, yeah, I've been practicing. I'm getting better each time I do it. I'm getting more confident at the speed, and I will commit 100% on race day to going down there as safely and as fast as I can.
So when I look at 2022, and just that year was the year you got second at Challenge Roth, you got sixth in Hawaii, fourth at Challenge Championship, eighth at the Ironman World Championships in St. George. Phenomenal year, right? And so what did you gain from that? Getting that sixth in Hawaii, and I think that surprised a lot of people that here you
Yeah.
were in the mix there, and not just in the mix, but you didn't have a problem being in the spotlight. You were enjoying being out there and leading up in the bike, and it seemed like you just enjoyed the entire experience. A lot of people go to that World Championship and they get intimidated by the whole situation. It didn't seem to bother you at all.
I just felt really happy and content with being there in that moment with, yeah, the best people or best people in triathlon, and to be racing alongside them and to probably solidify some doubts in my mind that I don't belong there. And it was finally that turning point where I felt like, yes, this is me. I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to be at the front of races. And I suppose as triathletes or sports people, you spend so much time on your own and training day in, day out, that the race day really needs to be a celebration of everything that you do. And like it's the only chance where you get to sometimes spend time with all your peers and your friends, and it's just those moments that you can, yeah, I just love to race. And so yeah, it was a great way to express that and celebrate triathlon. And yeah, I hope that I showed that you can enjoy the race and it doesn't have to be so serious all the time.
So the thing that makes the Ironman World Championship, if it's Nice or if it's Kona, so difficult, yeah, the conditions are obviously make a difference, but it's the depth of the field. Because nobody is going to Nice
Right.
who's thinking, well, I'm getting ready for Arizona. I'm just training through this, right? Everybody's there because it's the biggest day of the year. The positive of that is everybody, I think, gains from that. The other side of that is like when you were in Kona last year, you make a minor mistake, like you line up in the wrong side of the swim,
Yeah.
and you pay for it all day long, right? You have to work so hard to recapture. You start on the left, you're trying to get back to the main group, you use so much more energy, and it just becomes one domino after another. Next thing you know, you're coming off a sixth place and you get a 30th. But at the same time, you could have dropped out. You could have bailed anytime you wanted to, but you didn't. So what do you gain from that when you have, you've just come off the amazing day getting sixth. Now you're getting 30th. What do you take away from that?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And I suppose as an athlete, you're always wanting more. But I think I had so much more respect for the sport and the highs and lows that go into it, and just riding that wave of triathlon. And yeah, not every, like at the end of the day, there's only going to be one person who wins, and there's going to be a lot of people in the middle, and there's going to be someone at the end. It's like it's just sport, and that's the way it goes. And we're lucky, I guess, in Ironman that we can come back and compete each year. So that's why I'm here this year, trying to right those wrongs and try and improve on what happened last year. And each race you learn something, you do something differently, and that's why Ironman in triathlon is so special, because it's just forever changing, and there's always something new to do and some way to improve. So yeah, I take what happened last year. I learned from it. I I'm so happy that I had the resilience and
Yeah,
passion and like love for the sport to just keep going regardless, because it's not always in the wins that you learn the most about yourself. It's in those hard moments when you battling through. And I think I wanted to respect everyone else that was out there, and all the people that probably couldn't be there. Like I was able to get to the start line.
right.
I was fit. There was no reason why I technically couldn't finish. So I was like, I just got to do it. Like I was. So
Very fun.
yeah.
You also had a big win last year, Western Australia.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was my first Ironman win, and um we'd been training out in Australia for about, well, since after Kona, so for a good 2 months,
Yeah.
and to share it with some of the guys that I've been training with, and it was just a nice way to really bounce back from Kona. And in that moment, it was just, again, it was just happiness and celebration of the people that I've met in those 2 months and got to train with, and of the amazing, yeah, Australia race was just beautiful, and it was a great country, so really happy.
Well, what's cool is you come off of a bad experience, not a bad, it's a different type of experience where you
Yeah,
got the most out of yourself. You got 100% of whatever you had that day and got 30th. Then you come back not long afterwards and you win. I mean, that's what's so
yeah,
fascinating to me about this sport is one day you're like, you think, okay, I'm ready to win, and you have a crappy day. Another day
I know,
you're like, I don't know if I can even get out of bed, and you go win a race. So I
exactly.
think that's what makes the sport so special.
Oh, 100%. Like you can have like I think Laura Siddles or other people have said it in the past, like you think you're firing on all cylinders, it's all been perfect, you've had this ideal prep and things have gone smoothly, and there's no reason why you shouldn't have a good day, and then it comes, yeah, say the gun goes off and then suddenly it's just like no, nothing there, or it's it's just not, things are already written in the stars. You just gotta go with the flow and hope that it's your day, I think.
Yes. You're also one of those athletes you've competed at Challenge Roth, which is the top end of the challenge series,
Yeah,
and Kona, and now you'll be doing these. Talk a little bit about Roth. You've been second and fourth at that race, and there's just something
and third.
for people who have not been there. It's such a special race, and people just see the different challenge events, and they don't quite understand that Challenge Roth is in a league of its own.
Yeah, 100%. I think it defines the triathlon community and triathlon passion. And like I know recently we've had so many what are like records broken there, and it's obviously a phenomenally fast course, but I don't think it's necessarily all about that. It's about the people, the community. There's like the thousands of people in the town that get behind the race and come out and volunteer and spend half their year getting themselves ready, their town ready, which is this tiny little town, and you wouldn't know it from anything else on any other day of the week. But yeah, and they just yeah,
The,
their their passion is just
crazy.
elevated on every level, and everyone who races gets treated exactly the same, whether you're a professional or you're the first person finishing or the last person finishing. And yeah, especially you've been to the finishing line party and the fireworks and the music, and it's there's more people there for that moment than when that world record was broken. So it's just
Right.
it's crazy.
When you look at all the different courses that you've raced, do you have a favorite?
Um, they're different for different reasons. So I think
Yeah.
Challenge Roth for the like the emotion and the energy
Right.
and like the yeah, that inside feeling, but for like views and like scenery, and probably go back to on a more of a holiday kind of place, it'd probably be someone like Mallorca or and doing Challenge Pagera.
Yes.
But yeah, there's some well, like my first Ironman in Ironman Coeur d'Alene. That was we'd had some overgrazing. We went around the lake afterwards, and it was a great day. So yeah, I suppose different races for different reasons.
You also seem like one of those people who, when you go, a lot of athletes will go to these races, spend time in their hotel room, go to the race and leave. You
Yeah,
seem to, you want to be part of the community. You want to know what's going on there and get the most out of that. Because again, this is a type of career that somebody has. It doesn't last 20 years for most. So it's like
yeah,
you want to get the most out of every single opportunity. You get to go to Coeur d'Alene, you get to go to St. George, you get to go to Nice and Roth and Kona. It's a pretty cool way to make a living and a pretty
yeah,
cool way to see the world.
100%. Yeah, and they take you. I think, well, doing sport or triathlon makes you see a town or a place in a through a different set of eyes, which I think is really nice as you ride or run or swim in these iconic places. And yeah, just as you go to these different places, you meet different people, and like you learn so much from them, and you don't know, like it's like that yes moment. You just say yes, okay, I'll go and do that, and go and see them, and try something new. And yeah, it's like you said, I'm not going to be. I want to be here for a long time, but also a good time. And yeah, and I know it won't last forever at this level of racing. But I'm going to enjoy it, and I think the more I enjoy it, the longer it will last. So
What was the race that told you you could be really good at this sport?
um, it probably was that year in Kona when I was leading the race. Um, uh, and yeah, probably I don't know. It's I can't. Yeah, probably that moment, or when we finally made the transition from being working a bit and going committing to full-time athlete. But even yeah, even at that point, you never thought that World Championships was even on the cards. It was just this elusive thing that people went to. I never thought I'd get to be on a start line for it. So um yeah, just keep turning up and hoping that it all goes well.
It's a scary thing when you have a job with money coming in and you're like, okay, I'm going to make this move and go be a
Oh,
professional triathlete. It's to try to balance it. And I've obviously interviewed a lot of athletes who try to do both because I want to be a professional triathlete, but I don't want to be dependent on a paycheck from racing to be able to pay my mortgage or pay my rent or whatever. How scary was that for you to make that move and decide, okay, I'm going for it full time?
yeah, it was scary. It almost felt like I was well, like a child again. Like I moved back in with your mum, and you're like, this is not the way that you're meant. This is not how things are meant to be done. Like you're not meant to be 20 odd and then moving back home and doing things that way. But yeah, at that I would it's probably the best decision we ever made. So um yeah, it was challenging, but when you opportunities or you have good moments, then it's yeah.
Yes. What did your mom think when you moved back in?
I think she was a bit shocked. She was like, "Oh, so you?" I don't think she quite understood at the time. Obviously she does now,
Yes.
uh, or like now that we've moved back out. But yeah, it was probably a little bit of a okay, you're doing this. I'll support you. Let's see how long it will last. Yeah, because I guess
Yes.
she's been on this journey with us as much as anyone, and learning about the sport and how it works. And yeah, that time I didn't have any sponsors, so it was literally just learn as you go and ask as many questions. And yeah, keep your head up and keep believing.
Was there a point where you were thinking, I don't know if this is going to work?
Um, I think no, because I think I had that support from Bill and we had support from family and I wanted it. Like it
Yes.
wasn't an option. It wasn't, this is what I've
Yeah.
seen other people do it. I knew it was possible. Yeah, so it wasn't an option to go back. So I just had to keep going.
So when you have an injury that you're dealing with, how does that change your goals for Nice?
Um, it is, yeah. I guess so in a way, maybe not my goals, but how I my outlook on the race or how maybe I approach it mentally and maybe
Hmm.
I feel a lot more I actually almost feel a lot calmer knowing that I have got this injury. Maybe it takes some kind of expectation or pressure off myself to do certain
Yeah.
things or whatever and I just the races at the beginning of the year I did okay, they were all right, I got round, um but I didn't really, looking back, I don't think I really enjoyed them, so I'm really hoping that I can enjoy Nice and that will really bring out the best in me, which I know will, in that case, can do phenomenal things. So let's just hope it's hope it's that.
I like how you bounce back all the time. Like you didn't have a great race in Kona, you go and win at Western Australia. Back in, was it 2019? You fell off your bike, first race of the season. You're in a French hospital getting stitches. 1 week later, you win 70.3 Barcelona. So
Yeah,
you're one of those people who sort of knows how to make lemonade out of tough situations. It's like, okay,
yeah,
I haven't been able to run, so I'm gonna get the best race I can out of myself. And when I get in, the nice thing about when you get into the run, because it's multiple loops, you'll know exactly where you're at. The bike ride
yeah.
is a little bit of out of sight, out of mind because
Oh,
it's this
100%.
gigantic loop. You really don't know where you are until somebody comes up with a leaderboard. But then in the run, you can run some people down that way.
Yeah, I think it's I can't write how it's going to be, and I think everyone's coming in like with a lot of racing under their feet.
Mhm.
And it's a tough course mentally and physically because, like
Yes.
you say, out of sight, out of mind. It's going to be, if you can stay mentally strong and physically strong all the way to the end, and it's going to be, well, like, because it's a tough course, it's going to be that a little bit longer.
Yes.
Who's going to have that next gear or that next percent in those moments when it counts, and it's again also a lot of decision making, so you've got to have that clarity in your head. It's going to be a really interesting day for sure.
Good for you. But best of luck in Nice. It'd be really
Thank you so
fun to
much.
watch you race. It's always a treat to get to chat with you.
Yeah, you too.
I like how you get little hurdles that get thrown out there, and you're just like, oh well, I'll just make the most of it,
Yeah,
which you always do. You're going to have a great race there.
thank you so much, and thanks for your support as always.
And Fenella Langridge has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob, our Nice World Championship edition. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and watch Fenella on race day as she
Yes.
gets herself a podium at a World Championship. We'd love to see
Oh, yes, we would.
that.
You
You're
said
the
it
best,
first.
Fenella. Thank you so much.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.